going to be the easiest one. Inferno was the decider. Fine with it. Good map for both teams. Makes sense that that comes out there as the final one. You didn't want the Mirage if you were Endpoint, for example. That was one we were saying maybe even could have been picked by Sinners. Instead, as this transition now goes, they picked Vertigo, and we were kind of worried about this because they went with that pick last week as well versus Anonymo. And while going into that, we were like, yeah, great pick. Normally a map that they're really good on. Anonymo, they can play it, but they're not too great. And then we were just kind of bewildered by the fact that they looked absolutely terrible on it. They got 16th, so we were thinking they might swap it up a bit, but you were also saying it's been a week. They haven't been playing a lot of games. They've had some time to have a look at what went wrong in that game and hopefully fix it up, clean it up a little bit. The overpass pick though from Endpoint, yeah, we were unsure exactly even of what Sinners were gonna ban out. We were thinking Dust 2 maybe even could have been an option. We were thinking overpass was probably gonna be the one they'd go towards for the ban though, especially after just seeing Endpoint as well, also taking it off of Entropic, but no, they've left it in, and that's a fantastic pick for Endpoint. I don't know what's going to happen there for Sinners. You're going to need Oscar to just go absolutely off. You're going to need Neo fragging like a madman. You're going to need B-Stick showing up with those clutches again. This is tough, and really the way I see Sinners having a chance here is having fixed up their Vertigo, get the win there, take it to Inferno, and hopefully grind out the win there too.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see because, you know, you talk about how strong Overpass is. It has earned the nickname of Mezzy Pass because that is how utterly dominant they have looked on it of late. However, before we get to that, they do have to start with Vertigo. And I think almost, you know, we can look at Vertigo in isolation. We can look at the results for Sinners as we did previously and go, they look fantastic, 76% win rate. They've played this map 33 times in the last 3 months. But when you really start to dig into those results a little bit more, it's against advanced level teams. It's against teams who are sort of a little bit lower down in the standings, teams you'd almost expect them to be beating with someone like the caliber of Oscar on their team. So I don't know. I'm still worried. I'm still concerned. And I do think if Vertigo starts badly, then this could spiral out of control incredibly quick.
I mean, there's some good wins in there. They've taken down the likes of Sprout and Dignitas as well. That's a little bit in the past now, I suppose, at this point. But they have shown that they are a capable team on the map. It was just last week's result. I think that really has me kind of doubting. But I am hoping they can prove me wrong. I would like to see a close series. Vertigo, while it hasn't been a map really that Endpoint have played with this roster, I think they've only played it twice, and that was in the UK Prem, I'm pretty sure, against Jets. They did manage to win it, but that's not really a match you can go off of too much. But one thing I am remembering is when they had Thomas on the lineup before, Vertigo was a map that they absolutely loved. And well, with with Mezzy in there as well now, I would imagine it would be a map that they can do pretty well on. I would also presume that they put some practice into it if they're going to let Sinners pick it in here.
Yeah, almost definitely. And it's also a map that it's always worth highlighting. I think it lands far puggier on the scale of execute to pug. It definitely is leaning to the pug side of things. There is a limited skill ceiling. There is a limited amount of you can do in terms of, you know, execute utility. You've realistically going to be hitting the A bomb site 9 times out of 10. You got the wall of smokes to get you in, maybe some mollies to buy you a little more breathing room. Bomb goes down, and then we get into the chaos of the afterplant that we all know and love. So as far as maps go, for one that they haven't played, I think Endpoint will take it. It's a map that definitely they can still just work out on the fly if they haven't already, you know, been looking at it and going, we should be practicing this, we should be getting it ready for this exact matchup. But, well, the time for conjecture is over. We are getting into the nitty-gritty of things, and Sinners picking up a ton of utility early on. Initial shots, and once he had that angle lined up, it was all too easy to convert. And as a result, we will see Endpoint down onto this CT force buy, which is oh so bare bones. 4 Deagles, 5-7. Little bit of utility scattered about here and there, but compared to the firepower of Sinners, it's just night and day, and they're going to need somebody to step up in a big way. Thomas already looking for that aggression on the 5-7, but it doesn't pan out, and as Surreal is taken out, the B-bomb site wide open, the rotations will start to come in, but it's too little too late already, and Endpoint almost immediately might start to think of the save.
Yeah, this is a commanding start, I'm going to say, from Sinners with that pistol round, and now with a pretty clean looking... it's looking like it's going to be pretty clean anyway. I wouldn't imagine Endpoint want to stick around even too much. Those Deagles and Kevlar are pretty valuable. There's also now a Mach 10 on the ground that one of them might be able to get away with. And it definitely looks like Sinners are feeling a bit more confident coming into Vertigo today than they were last week up against Anonymo. Ooh, nice shot. There's another kill. So, I mean, it's becoming a lot more costly than I was expecting, at least here in this round. We've got to note that. They're even sending out more players to try and stop, I guess, those weapons from being retrieved. Got to make sure you don't lose any of these rifles, though. So far, it's only been the MAC-10, so it hasn't been too big of a deal.
Oscar will start to mop things up. Mezzi going down. Crucial, the only player who's going to be allowed to save, and he will be allowed to do so just about. That Galil was right about to peek into his crosshair as the clock goes red. And Endpoint, well, 0-2 down. This round not realistically going to be the one to change the tide of things either.
We think that
maybe
every
a
time.
couple of bits and pieces. Upgraded pistols here and there. Thomas will pick himself up a 5.7. Mezzi grabs another Deagle. Mighty Max with the flashbang to try and maybe enable a deep ramp peak here to try and take some of the initial contact. But with the AK of Neofrag watching it and that big triple in the pistol, it does feel like it's just a matter of time before these guys go down. Okay.
Ooh, yeah, no, I was saying we seem to think it's always going to be the easy one now, but sometimes they prove us wrong. Already a good shot from Surreal. Not ready for the player to have already crept forward, unfortunately, there. Oscar had taken his time, or taken his chance, rather, to creep forward while no one was holding B. And a good rotation as well here around mid from B-Stick with the MAC-10 is going to be able to cut things off. So yeah, bomb goes down. It's another straightforward round. A bit of damage already done. If they can take out one or two more players again, then they should be feeling pretty good going into this first gun round. But Sinners are getting the start that they need here on the T side of Vertigo, we've got to say. In terms of winning rounds, anyway. I feel like they're throwing a bit too much away. They haven't got a lot to gain from hunting in this round, or even in the previous one. Obviously, they limited the investment a lot more in this one, so you could kind of understand it, especially when it was only the SMGs that went out and died. But here in this one, I don't really like them hunting too much, considering Endpoint are coming onto the buy in the next round either way. Just hold on to all your own weapons.
I do wonder if they're again throwing those MAC-10s at the sword on the basis that they either get the kill and great, you get the extra money, or you die and you buy the rifles when the rifles come out for Endpoint either way. So I can sort of see the logic. I do agree with you, though. It's never great to be throwing too much away to those half buys. And as Endpoint do get their first proper run at things, Crucial will have his hands on that AWP. Full utility behind it as well, courtesy of the saved Kevlar. And Oscar's going to try and contest it almost immediately as well. I mean, the money's still pretty decent for Sinners, despite losing those couple of MAC-10s twice on the trot. Zedko, the only player who's really going to be struggling if this round goes south, but Crucial already taking the fight. Neofrag picked off as he looks to go through the smoke A ramp. And Endpoint with the early man advantage to try and leverage.
Yeah, you can see the pressure from that is forcing Sinners to try and make a bit of a play. They are going to start creeping forward just through that smoke on ramp, and I'm wondering whether this catches anyone off guard. There was a player pushed up around the alley, but he's fell back off, and well, Crucial ready up on the top. Not quite, apparently. Oscar actually gets the second. I don't know what was going on there. I don't believe there was a flash in. Mezzi just not able to get the shots off, and well, now Mighty Max on the headshot angle needs to go big. He's got the first. Flash in as well to just hopefully stay alive, as the mollies I don't think are going to flush him out.
They are.
No, eventually spreading and burning him. And a smoke even come in from a teammate, just didn't land in time, but he did delay quite a bit. That's allowed for Surreal to get in position. Thomas surprisingly actually hasn't really moved at all, so that's making me wonder if they even want to attempt this retake. There is a kit here in the corner, I believe. As I said, with Thomas still back on B, they're probably just going to back away and save these weapons. Sinners are going to head up 4-0.
Initially, I thought Thomas was there to try and catch the flank through mid and get, maybe if he does get that pick, you know, maybe if someone is late flanking towards those elevators, he takes him down 2-on-2 with the utility they've got. They throw themselves at this one. But all three players for Sinners in towards the ramp. The afterplant position is just a little bit too strong. Endpoint having to satisfy themselves with saving a couple of rifles. And I mean, from great beginnings, right? Crucial gets the early pick, takes out one of those heavy hitting players in Neofrag. But then Oscar just with the better angle on the initial peak. And Mezzi, well, I don't know quite what happened there. I do wonder if the angle was a little bit rough for him on that second peak and he just couldn't quite find the spot he was looking for, maybe with that jutting out yellow bit there. But he has to be getting that frag right. He's there to back Crucial up, and as he doesn't find it, the whole round just falls apart for Endpoint.
Oh, sorry, accidentally hit F5 on my keyboard, so it refreshed the feed. But we're all good now. Yeah, no, that was really strange. I don't. Hopefully they won't be keeping that in their memory and they can just try and move on from it. But Sinners are getting a very good B start right now, and as you said, the flash over to try and take the peak together, a bit similar to what we seen with the force buy earlier on, but this time with a lot more to back it up. And it's actually Mighty Max who's going to go ahead and do all of the talking. Two very quick headshots being found. This still leaves Thomas, unfortunately, in a 1-on-2, but he's got an M4 to make this work, and there's still a lot of time on the clock right now. And Sinners, I don't think, are in too much of a rush to make the commitment. You can see the bomb, I believe, just holding down at the bottom of ramp, waiting to see if the flank comes through or not. Well, the question is now, what does Thomas do?
All on him, all the pressure on his shoulders. He's cleared out the B bomb site pretty extensively. Made absolutely sure nothing's going on over there, so he will make his rotation back to A. Still 55 seconds left on the clock, still plenty of time for Sinners. Good banker utility to execute into as well. He'll hear this molly coming over the top. The smokes will lock him out of the site, and Thomas will have to concede this plant. Beestick makes his presence clear. He'll hear it going down at the very least, and he's actually going to try and go through, try and catch Beestick on site, but the footsteps have been heard. Needs a clean shot, and he's not going to land it. Beestick shuts him down. The 5-0 comes through for Sinners, and I mean, it was, to be fair, a fantastic half-buy for Endpoint. 2 kills from Mighty Max on the Deagle. Thomas chiming in. I think it was Surreal actually chiming in. Yeah, over on the B-bomb site with 1, but just not quite able to get it done. I think Mighty Max may be overextending just a smidge to try and get that 3rd Deagle kill, and he's punished for it as a result. Still going to be buying, of course, and having kept the economy a little more honest for Sinners. They bought themselves some room, but almost immediately, Crucial's been picked out of this round by Oscar.
Certainly not the start that Endpoint we're hoping for. As you said, yeah, that previous round was made very close, and it has done decent damage at least, but there is still money there for Sinners either way, and well, with a poor start into this round for Endpoint, I don't think they're getting anywhere near close to breaking that economy of Sinners. We'll see what can be done to try and pull it back. Thomas is actually rocking the up now over on B, and he is going to be challenged. The entire team is actually grouping up around B. You don't see this too often, Wolfie. Normally the A-bomb site is favoured. Molly's in. He just about moves back in time. Smoke down to hopefully take attention towards that position. He peeks in ahead of it then and manages to catch 1. And well, the plan, I imagine, now is to just hopefully hold on and set up for the retake. But Zed go through the smoke. He forces the issue. He takes Thomas out of play, and he might even force Endpoint to consider a save if they don't get a kill pretty quickly here. Although the bomb plant is being delayed heavily.
Molly's bought them time, but that nade does so much work onto Surreal, and now they really are stuck. Oscar boosted up will take the dink. But without the frag to their name, there's really not a lot more Endpoint can hope for. The smoke still keeping them out of the initial peaks they were after. They're just going to have to satisfy themselves with saving once again. Sinners off to an absolutely flying start. And once again, that battle of the AWPers, right? Oscar getting the better of Crucial over towards the aggressive B stairwell peak. Just really sets the whole round up because there's only so much Thomas can do. He's solo, opts to go for the AWP, hits a nice flick for the first, but at that point, with all the smokes, all the utility coming around behind him, he's not normally a player who goes for those AWPing options, has to fall back, play a little more passively, and Zedko, when he takes full advantage to go aggressive, catch that pick as Thomas just spamming through the smoke, hoping to connect something. And at 6-0, T-side of Vertigo, the alarm bells I don't think ringing yet for Endpoint, but in a couple of rounds time this could start to look very rough indeed. Full investment will come out as they try and stabilize a sinking ship.
Having a look here, I mean, if we're being fair to Sinners as well, Overpass, although we do expect Endpoint to have a pretty easy time, Sinners themselves have even beat out Apex recently enough on it, so it's a map they can play, especially if they manage to come off of a very one-sided victory here on Vertigo. We'd have to maybe think it could at least be a possibility. Bit of damage. That nade should do more as well. No, managing just about to escape, but yeah, a little bit of a fight around ramp early on, not too much being found, and well, that's a much better position for Endpoint because in most of these rounds they've lost a player very, very early on. Instead, they've actually got a health advantage with good damage being done, and the push from Thomas to flash over, and 2 players waiting for him completely blinded. Not quite sure if he got the vision on Oscar to confirm there was another man there, but either way, a 5-on-3 early on is fantastic for Endpoint. They need to come alive, and they need it right now. Has Oscar not died yet?
He's been having one of those games, but nice utility damage early on, capitalized by the flashes. 3-on-5, Endpoint need to find this conversion cleanly as well. Crucial misses the shot, shock. I don't think he even fired, so quick on the swing. Taking that AWP out of the equation again makes this round at least expensive. They'll look for a little more, those Sinners. Starting to execute up onto this A site. The wall of smokes go up. As he playing around the edges, trying to maybe catch this bomb planter as it looks to go down. Shock will look to punch the numbers in, and is actually going to get this bomb planted. No, he's not. Mezzi aggresses, traded 1 for 1 at least, but the smokes are starting to fade now. Oscar will have to make sure he covers his planter, And that puts him in a vulnerable spot on the catwalk. Neofrag does well for one, leveling things out. And now this is so well set up out of nowhere. It's 2-on-2 with a perfect crossfire. Neofrag just has to stay alive by room for the AWP. Oscar and Neofrag combine perfectly. And it's a 7th round, a 3-on-5 conversion from Sinners. And well, if the alarm bells weren't ringing last round, they sure as hell are now.
Damn. I mean, I think we've seen a couple 4-on-3s even being pulled back already by Sinners. They've had a couple positions where they've been behind and have managed to fight back into it by just hitting that A-bomb site. It seems to be, I mean, the go-to plan for most teams. It's working well for Sinners at the moment. Pistols and Kevlar, good few nades at least. Endpoint were able to make the last buy like this that they had pretty competitive, obviously off the back of the Mighty Max double dig, but I'm not expecting too much. Sinners are most likely going to be sitting halfway to the finish line already without Endpoint having contributed a single round. And as we said, while we do expect Overpass to be a much better time for Endpoint, we were not expecting Vertigo to struggle quite this much. Maybe they haven't got around to really playing it with this 5-man. Mighty Max, that was awkward, got blinded completely. There will be at least a follow-up by Crucial, but he's trapped because of the molly behind him. But no, they're trapped with him, never mind. He was able to take a second before going down and has maybe given his team a bit of a fighting chance. They're still outnumbered, unfortunately. But there is some weapons maybe that could be retrieved around on the alley rather later in the round here. For now though, Shock is watching.
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Crucial doing all he can to try and stabilize things. A nice double kill on the Deagle.
Ooh.
Opens up some timings and the flank is starting to come through from Thomas. Mezzi not going to be tested yet. This is going to be all on these timings now, though. Mezzi completely alone behind the metal, trying to play this tight angle with the box there to cover him a little bit from catwalk, but that wallbangs everything. They know exactly where he is now, and Beastick can punish. Thomas, that flank needed to come 10, 15 seconds sooner. He actually opted to bail out of it entirely and now finds himself 1v3 with little to no map control to speak of and just looking for exits again. It's going to be a guaranteed lead at the half for Sinners, and it's going to be unopposed at that. An 8-0 start here on Vertigo. You know, we were almost painting Endpoint as the team to beat, the team that we expect to be having an impact, starting incredibly slowly here on Vertigo, and in all honesty, just being found out by Sinners.
They've definitely taken the time over the past week to fix up their Vertigo anyway. We know that.
Yep.
I'm starting to feel like Endpoint just haven't had a chance to put much time into Vertigo yet with this 5-man. It does seem to be the case. I had said that. I know they loved it back in the day when they had Thomas on the lineup before, and he was a man who tended to just pop off as well. So I feel like it will eventually be a map that they'll be good at, but at the moment, right now anyway, the CT side is not looking great for them. Yeah, that was just a whole weird situation right there. Zedgo was like, oh, hi. Hello, Max. Crucial done a pretty good job to recover. If Mighty Max could have even got one right there, then that could have been the turning point in the round, rather. But yeah, the flash just blinded him perfectly as he went for the peak. Either way, the buy is back out. As we said, Sinners halfway to the finish line already, and Oscar wants to get them even closer. Another early opening kill coming in from the upper, and while he's not miles ahead in the fragging department right now, every single one of these kills from Oscar has incredible impact.
He's just consistently putting his team in a fantastic position, isn't he? Again, early man advantage found, this time out towards mid as he picks off Surreal. Crucial still up on the AWP, maybe a silver lining Endpoint can look to, but with 1 minute and 15 left on the clock, all the time in the world for Sinners to try and work out how they want to play this one. Thomas, considering the contest on Plateau as well, has got to be aware that Oscar is lurking. So much presence in mid still available for this T side. He's going to swing it, try and get what he can done. Flashed off. Now he's going to be put under pressure. Needs a multi-kill here, but he can only find one. Mezzi through the smoke will at least trade, but again, Oscar is there to make sure his team stay in the ascendancy, and Crucial is now all alone, maybe looking to deny this plant, playing in and around the edges of the smoke. He will have his timing. I think Zedko has spotted him out first. Jenny's, though, indeed, he definitely has now. And Crucial's position, there is a timer on this. They're joining already. Molly to try and flush Zedko out, trying to get any peek go his way, but he's lost his teammate in the process and now finds himself in the 1v3. Nice flick for the first, but he needs so much more. And Neofrag just isn't going to give him an inch. A quick trade 1-for-1. Sinners have their 9th. And again, I mean, I have to agree with you. It just feels like Endpoint don't have the reps on Vertigo right now. The early pick coming in towards middle destabilizes the whole equation, and then it's just a matter of Sinners trading efficiently, which they are so good at doing.
Oh yeah, that's one of the main things that they focus on, because let's be real, they're not all the best fraggers. They are just a very capable team, which is good to see. Surreal, good opening. Oscar ends up trying to peek in to find the player who I believe he had heard a footstep from up close, but well, gets caught anyway because of the second player ready to follow up on the peek. Now it's a 5-on-3. There's an op to be recovered. I'm not sure exactly where the other kill came in, but it doesn't seem like that weapon's going to be taken quite yet. But either way, a great advantage and a chance for Endpoint to welcome themselves to the scoreboard. Mighty Max, we've seen his deagle once before. He's been quiet apart from that moment pretty much, and this is his chance to come alive again. And he's gotten one. Didn't quite manage to follow up with the damage on the shock, unfortunately, but with the man advantage, this is plenty. The 1-for-1s will lead to success.
Just got to make sure they don't go any worse than that. A bomb site has been abandoned. Shock on a timing in mid is actually going to be pushed, and he's got no idea at all. Looking completely the wrong way. Leaves Neofrag with the clutch. 1v4. He was initially heading over towards that A site, and I thought there was maybe a world where he gets this bomb down, puts the pressure on the after plant. Instead, he finds himself in mid. 1v4, spotted out by Surreal on the AWP now, of course. Trying to get it done, but he can't find the connection. Endpoint, out of nothing, out of nowhere, will have their first round on the board. Certainly a long way from home, and the buys are not going to stop coming from Sinners, but it's something, right? It's a starting point, a building block that they can maybe form the foundations of their CT side from.
Yeah, it's a start. I mean, considering how it's gone so far, I think up to even 4 rounds would be a decent position. They're going to need the pistol pretty much no matter what then going into the second half. And who knows, maybe they can make the comeback start happening, but, well, we've got to see if they can even keep it happening right now, because obviously Sinners had plenty of money to come right back in with a buy, and it's still going to be there for at least one more round afterwards. So Endpoint need to show some consistency here on their CT side. Not challenging too aggressively for ramp currently. And a bit of a bait and switch setup instead with Crucial and Sandbags. You've got Mezzy up close ready to play off of his contact, although now it looks like they're going to swap it up and play it the other way around. And you've also got Mighty Max ready to push forward. So yeah, they want to challenge this. They want to try and catch some players out of position. And it doesn't quite work. No one was really out of position at all, at least until Mighty Max decides to peek in and force the issue. And he's taken 2. Big work by Mighty Max. The in-game leader says, all right, guys, we're struggling. I'm just going to take it into my own hands. 2 early frags, a 5-on-3. And we've seen them lose a position like this before, to be fair. But with the damage onto Zedco as well, this should be incredibly difficult for Sinners to recover.
2 frags and a dink onto the third man. Not a bad workload. Trying to get what they can done. Shock is lurking in mid, but Thomas is aware that off the back of that, it's probably going to be the B hit. So just looking to drop his utility, buy a little bit of time for the rotations to come around. Zedco so low on HP, the nade will dunk him out of the equation. Oscar doing what he can, does find the first. Don't want to give him too much as he hits the leg and the conversion onto Surreal. Oscar trying to do this all alone. He's low on HP, though he needs his teammate here with him in the 2-on-3. Gets the no-scope through the smoke to level things out. He is doing all he can, and Shock's got another out of nowhere. It's all Mezzy. We've been hyping him up. We've been saying how great he's been. He needs a big clutch here. He'll find the first. Oscar on 22 HP will have to drop. Goes lower as a result. And just looking to play this bomb now. Mezzy, one shot will do this, but Oscar is in with the clutch. 10 on the board, 4 in the round for an Oscar. An absolute hero on that B-bomb site. And complete and utter madness for Sinners to get double digits.
What can you do? Can we get a replay of that no-scope?
It's not fair, man.
It's not fair. What can you do? Let's be reasonable. What did Endpoint do wrong right there? Mighty Max was just chilling. He just gets wall banged in the face. True smoke as well. No scoped. I mean, yeah, just it's ridiculous. Well played as well then by Oscar to peek in, just take that kill. He was low health, so I was a little bit scared for him, but he makes it work. Sinners make it work. They hit double digits. It's 10-1, and this game has already been ridiculous. I expect, again, a lot more from Endpoint on Overpass. But you've still got to be worried somewhat if this is how the first map is going. Maybe you have that fate then that Sinners are just going to come out of nowhere and have an incredible Overpass as well. As I said, it is certainly a map that they do play and have had some decent wins on. Definitely not got as many reps, I guess, as you call it, as Endpoint do on the map over there.
Looking for that delayed A ramp aggression as well, and this time nobody there to contest. Should be able to get some information, and all this timing could be everything. Mezzy's just backed out of it. I thought he was going to hang around on this peak. Looks like he's waiting for a flash as well from a teammate to try and get him in. Crucial will get first contact, taking B-Stick out of the equation early. Pop flash goes over the top now. Mezzy toying with the idea of peeking in. He'll go on the second. 2 players there for him, spots him out. Looking to play the trigger discipline game instead with that man advantage already established. Neofrag has to recover the bomb and will do so. Sinners losing that A-ramp control. It definitely feels like Endpoint have an idea how they want to play this one. Delayed A-ramp working out pretty damn well for them so far, but Sinners once again will loop things back around towards that B site. Had so much success there last round with Oscar. They're going to look to replicate those exact antics. Thomas playing the close angle. Jiggle peeking into the catwalk. Has Surreal, that secondary AWPing possibility, making life difficult. Smoke goes deep. They'll have to go through this 15 seconds. Shot gets the mid-peak, but it's Surreal anchoring things down. Shot goes on a flank, but it's all too little too late. 8 seconds left. Zedco needs to get this bomb down now. And Mighty Max knows it. Swing will come in. Surely the denial as well. And indeed, Endpoint will have their second round on the board. CT side misfiring at times, but that delayed A-ramp control is finally finding them some purchase.
And in theory, they could still bring this back up towards 5 rounds. If you get 5 rounds, I mean, it's not terrible. Normally, you'd be aiming for 6 or 7 on that CT side, but considering how it was going, if they can manage to get back up to that number, I think they'll be feeling pretty happy. And, well, Sinners are finally scraping the bottom of the barrel to actually get out of buy. You're seeing a bit of a weakness, I suppose, with the Mac 10 on Zedco. Overall, though, still a very good investment and one that they can make work. So Endpoint not out of trouble quite yet, and Shock shows us why. Quick headshot on towards Crucial. Mighty Max at least ready for the trade. But it is going to be a 4-on-4, which I think the T's will be happy with. They can slow things down. They've got loads of time. They've got the ramp control, and you can see it's Endpoint who are instead looking to make something happen. And, well, Mezzi, he's been in this position a couple of times. And he has before struggled somewhat, but a flash in instead. He wants to take the initiative, I believe. Although he seems kind of halfway in, halfway out. Didn't want to go too far forward. Gets confirmed that there is still players nearby by that molly as well, ticking away at the feet of one. So I think they just want to slow it down themselves as well. Oh, I like this setup.
Nice bait and switch, but Mighty Max is actually going to fall off it at the worst possible time. Flashes come over. Mezzi now a little bit isolated. Does well to deal with the catwalk player. Now it's all on this ramp hit, and Mezzi can just have a field day. Double spray down comes in. Oscar is left. Has the catwalk control, sure, but it's 1v3, and he's getting aggressed all around. Mezzi has already pushed all the way down the ramp. Oscar surely doesn't expect this. Mezzi low. Maybe an opportunity to find some kind of an opening, but they're playing Ring a Ring of Roses. The spam actually gives him away, and he will be found at least. 30 seconds left. We've seen Oscar pull off more miraculous plays, but does he expect the second piece of aggression? Thomas toying with the idea of going down that catwalk. 20 seconds now. Endpoint set themselves up with the crossfire. Oscar will line up what utility he has. Smoke and an initial flick doesn't quite connect. 15 seconds. Knows Surreal is close, but he hasn't found the shot. And with 10 seconds left, this is going to get awkward. Baits the shot, but can't connect. Thomas will trade him down. Endpoint round number 3 on the board, and it definitely feels like they need some control of the A-ramp to get these CT side rounds going.
Yeah, or at least to challenge it early on, but instead of just letting them onto the bomb site itself. That seems to be the main thing. And, well, yeah, Mezzi stepping up now. He's kind of finding his footing on the map. He started off a little bit slower. We had pointed out that obviously there hasn't been a lot of maps so far since they've added him and Thomas. But he has been the top performer. And, well, he's starting to show that now for sure. Pistols, 1 AK, that's all that there is available in the hands of Neofrag, so this should be a pretty straightforward round. I don't see Endpoint really struggling too much with it. They can lose 1 player really at most as well, otherwise they could even impact their own buy in the next round, not having too much, especially with a double op actually. So if one of those could be taken away, that would be kind of a win for Sinners. So we'll see whether that can happen or not. Neofrag ready to swing off of the pistol to get the trade, hoping to be able to do a lot with the rifle there in the background and just kind of clean up. Unfortunately, 1 kill is not exactly what they were looking for. And with only Zedco left alive now, Endpoint, they're going to close it out, and I wouldn't imagine will really struggle for their own buy in this next round. And, well, 5 is looking pretty possible now.
Set themselves well. Zedco will get 1. Does remove the AWP. It should be salvageable. Yeah, Thomas will grab it, so it's not the end of the world. If that second AWP maybe wasn't picked up, then the buy isn't optimal. It's not what they're hoping for, and life does get a little bit worse, but they'll be able to get it going regardless. And of course, Sinners will be buying into the last round of the half. A mini recovery coming in from Endpoint. And, well, I think they take 10-5 at the half, given how that start was. 10-1 down at one point. In need of a little bit of a recovery. And again, Oscar going to look for this aggression. Surreal wisely backs away, but he actually gets picked by Zedco instead. Just tunneling his way through in towards the stairwell early. And they're going to go quickly off the back of this as well. Bomber's been recovered. They've got 3 players already up towards Wood. As Mighty Max and Thomas try and set up some kind of a crossfire, B-Stick will make his way around the catwalk, and there are so many timings on the board now. Pop flashes all over the shop. Thomas gets 1, but he's quickly taken down, and it's all Michael. Knows he has to be aggressive, has to be proactive. Bomb will go down regardless. And Oscar posted could be such an issue. Orpa removed. Mezzi, 1v2 will find the first. Smoke to potentially lock Shock out of this fight as well. It's all on the individual. As he's toying with it, the wallbang not quite connecting though. Smoke will go front of the bomb. Has the kit, only needs 5 seconds to make this work. Shock, aware of that, is starting to think about it. Mezzi taps it, trying to draw him out into the open. The spray's awkward, but he will find it. It will be 5 for Endpoint. The recovery will be completed. Sinners not quite able to find the punishment they were after, and we'll have to see if Endpoint can keep this flow of rounds going after the break.
Never die. Fading as we push through the darkest times. I'll be there by your side. We rise. Everything's breaking. Our souls will awaken. Our spirits never die.
A mini comeback to end the half. Light at the end of the tunnel, a silver lining in amongst the clouds, but still a 10-5 scoreline and a lot of pressure riding on this pistol for Endpoint. In need of something a little bit special to keep their hopes of stealing this first map, the pick of Sinners, away, and they're going quickly off the back of that. Crucial already up the catwalk, taking map control by the hand. Already pushing in as well. They're going to aggress fully onto this A site before anybody's even able to say anything about it. Mezzi trying to take the peaks over on B. They're trying to bait and switch this, and Thomas will get the frag as a result. B stick goes down, and the B bomb site looking problematic.
Yeah, a slower pistol round, at least one that we can follow here in the second half. But a good start for Endpoint, as you said. And they've got the full A site control as well. That B pressure early on, it pulled the rotations away. We'll see whether they can hold them off now, though, as they come back in, because their teammates have not quite joined up with them yet. And we are seeing some kills being pulled back. One from Neo Frag. Thomas ready on the trade, at least, to take his second of the round, and they're all going to try and cover off this bomb planter while all of the CTs swing in. And, well, they didn't want to push, apparently. They just wanted those longer-ranged fights, and the Glocks managed to win them out. Oscar's going to be left alone, and while he's had his clutch moments already, this shouldn't be feasibly all that winnable for him. There is a kit, though. That helps him a small bit with the timing on getting that defuse in. He's running around in the open. No one's peeking him. They're giving him a lot of space to work with. Just want to be able to play this off of each other, and as soon as he peeks in, all three of them are ready. Just in case, but that wasn't even needed. Surreal hits a quick headshot. So it's not as quick as the pistol round we've seen from Sinners on the first half, but it's almost as convincing. It's a good sign for Endpoint now, especially with the comeback that they had started towards the end of that previous half.
Something to look forward to, certainly. I was lost on that pistol. I have no idea how Sinners kept track. It was A, then it was B, then it was A again. And get it over the line.
It's always A, isn't it?
It's always A at the end of the day. I mean, that is a motto to stand by on Vertigo, but have to see if that's the case again. Force Bite does come out, of course, for Sinners, and again, it's a little awkward. I mean, Oscar does get the scout. This Deagle's for the teammates, so he's got a lot of the heavy lifting to do. A-ramp control going to initially be conceded. They are starting to think about aggressing this, though. Shock's going to push the catwalk. Oscar and B-Stick peeking from short. There's a timing here, but B-Stick's head's exposed, and Thomas is all too happy to take it away from him. Does take some damage as a result. Shock, that's so awkward. Needed to find the connection. Instead, only the tag, and these Deagles at the moment, getting aggressive one at a time doesn't feel like the play. Neofrag, aware that somebody has to step up, is thinking about aggressing this, and he might catch a timing here. 4 players, but one's looking at him. Mighty Max finds it, and he's got the tag onto Oscar as well. They're tearing this apart. Oscar, with the recovered Deagle, finds nothing, and Zedko is left in the 1v5. Damage onto 3 players means it's not necessarily the most unlikely of plays, but as he gets the first, he looks to escape, maybe hold on to a little bit of armor in that Deagle. He's going to be hunted down from all sides. Already, Mezzi clearing his way onto this B-bomb site to try and find that Deagle.
Yeah, going to be nice. But I don't think he's going to be getting any, so as you said, the Deagle will have to do. Alongside those nades, which would be pretty useful considering other than that they're going to be on a full eco in the next round. But that means Endpoint likely going to be heading up to 8 rounds, and we've got to remember, at one point this was an 8-0 lead for Sinners. With this being their map choice as well, with that lead that they have very quickly dwindling away, you've got to be a little bit worried, because we mentioned that Overpass is a map that heavily favours Endpoint. We were saying that even if Sinners managed to finish this one out very one-sidedly, we were still worried about how they do there. We were thinking maybe then there'd be a bit of a chance. But Endpoint, they're really finding their footing now and are making this a much more competitive game than it was looking to be. It's weird though as well, because I don't know if maybe it was just Vertigo in particular they needed to warm up on, because they had been playing plenty of CS before, so sometimes you're like, okay, yeah, just getting the feel for the mouse in the early rounds. I don't think that was the case. It was more so getting the feel for the map, I guess. But yeah,
Vertigo does play unlike any other map in the world, and we're going to see it again here. The aggression coming in through mid. 4 players charging through on the default pistols. Zedko does have the Deagle up on B, and he's going to get his chance as well. Surreal goes down early. He was forced out of mid and really just tried to get anything he could going, but as Crucial takes B-Stick out, the A-bomb side does start to become vulnerable. Thomas is already posted in CT, takes the dink and finds the conversion regardless. Shock will catch him off guard a little bit, unaware that the aggression had necessarily come through, but Bomb's going to go down regardless. The Molly a split second too late. The damage on the board now, and for Endpoint, they've just got to hold on to this. Zedko has got himself an AK, though, and as he takes out Crucial, it gets awkward. Mighty Max down on 23 HP. This is really all on Mezzi, and he's on a very long flank as well. He's just going to make his presence known into the elevators now. Holds the trigger discipline. Goes for the execution on one. Can't find the second. 2-on-2, Zedko will make his way to the site. His teammate's low, though, and Mighty Max on the drive-by takes him out. They'll mop things up, Endpoint, but it's far closer than it ever should have been. Just the 2 players kept alive. So some economic questions potentially starting to be asked if Sinners can get this next round on the board.
Oh yeah, they'd be ruined if they were to lose this one out, to be honest. So it definitely gives a good opportunity to Sinners, as you said, to come alive again in the first gun round. And they kind of need to. Again, they were up 8-0 at one point, went a little bit back and forth then for a moment, then ended up just letting those final few rounds of the previous half go the way of Endpoint. So momentum at the moment has definitely shifted. I think it could be swaying back pretty quickly with, as you said, that damage being done and with a chance for this gun round, but through the smoke, Thomas initially with the damage on towards B-Stick, and then Mighty Max gets himself the finish. That should let them start pushing forward now to take this ramp control as well. Not a good position for Sinners to be in, especially with the lack of nades that they're currently rocking. They really haven't got too many. You can see that they realize they need to try and pull back a kill, and Neofrag, he's going to go for it. But even if he finds one here, there's 3 players ready to just swing on him, so a trade should at least be available for Endpoint. But we saw Crucial. Does he decide to stick around? Not quite. I think he's worried about a player maybe being up close to the smoke already.
Not sure about this. Oscar's going to try and be the man to make the difference now as he peeks deep behind the tarple. Nobody giving him an angle, though. Endpoint, of course, aware that with that man advantage, they just have to sit on it. Oscar will get his pick, though. Mighty Max a little too keen, leveling things out, and Oscar looking for more will find it. Crucial not there to back his teammate up, and then Neofrag strikes. The timing is perfect. 3 frags in quick succession. This was a 5-on-4 that Endpoint should have been looking to convert. If this goes south, maybe that economy starts to swing back. Mezzi will have to be the banker. Look to loan his teammates something. Surreal is prodding and poking over towards B, seeing if the stairwell will give him any kind of a frag at all. Timing awkward for Zedko, but he does find one. Last bullet before he's traded, and Mezzi is left in the 1v3. Close on the generators, 2 players already there for the CT side. Not even getting full control of this site. Flash over the top is perfect. Sinners, clean as you like, have their 11th on the board. A little bit of individual brilliance from those 2 players that we said you needed to look to, right? Oscar getting himself those early picks, and then he's got Neofrag there to back him up. And the wheels just come off the train for Endpoint.
Yeah, good recovery from losing B-Stick within the opening few seconds of the round as well, basically. And this buy now looking quite a bit better than what they had in the previous. Even if they had rifles across the board, and this time you're seeing B-Stick on the MP9, they just have so many more nades, which is going to be super useful, as you can see right now, for taking this ramp control. And, well, for just denying Endpoint from being able to take it so easily. Again, though, they do have a player pushed up. That's Neofrag. Gets spammed up heavily, decides to start returning fire, and surprisingly has actually managed to escape with his life. And elsewhere, Shock has come out with a double kill. We don't get to quite catch it, but either way, he's put his team in a fantastic position early on in this round, and I'm kind of surprised that they're continuing the fight so heavily for ramp. Don't want to give that control up, I guess, thinking they've done a bit more damage than they have. It's the MP9 as well that's taken a bit of a jump peak from the sandbags, which can be dangerous. Oh, so much damage. That's ridiculous.
Jinx. Both of us with the exact same thought. That's insane from the MP9. Endpoint just looking for whatever they can get. At this point, anything that goes their way would be great. Flashed in, MP9. Going to be double dinked down by Thomas. 4 HP on him and Crucial, respectively, now. Really does just need Oscar to switch it to the pistol, but he's going to take the high HP player instead. Almost the collapse. Surreal will at least trade 1 for 1, but he needs so much more than that. The only player with any health left in this equation in the 2-on-3. Crucial does find one, though. Neofrag playing the headshot angle makes it easy for him, and now it could get awkward. Shock locks it down with the quad kill, though. 2 quick picks in mid, 2 as they look to push on to A. Even saves himself the AWP, and that will be the reset for Endpoint.
Absolutely fantastic work. Endpoint are in trouble. I mean, we were worried for Sinners, but again, I think it comes partly back to Endpoint just not having quite as much experience on the map in recent times. Definitely not with this 5-man. Sinners, they've got it on lock. I think they learned their lesson last week as well. So Endpoint weren't able to come in and exploit some of those same mistakes that Anonymous were able to come through and use to get their win. And yeah, they're definitely looking a little bit more, a little bit stronger, I've got to say, this time. And a good opening again. Neofrag finds Mighty Max. They forced him, I believe, forward with those mollies that went in. Decided that he'd try and just take one player with him if possible. The smoke, I believe, is covering off the bomb right there, so he shouldn't realize that they have control of it. So hopefully Endpoint will be able to pick that back up and maybe look for a plant to just boost their own buy a little bit in this next round. A couple of kills would be nice, though, as well. You can see they are looking for them, definitely putting some effort in to try and find it. It's just not really working out for them. Oh, okay. I jinxed it. Okay. We had our little jinx by saying the same thing earlier. If I ever get to leave Ireland again and meet up with you, then I suppose I'll buy you something. That's normally how it works, right?
I think that's how it is. I'll take that. 4-on-3 for now, though. Endpoint will take anything they can get. Shock posted where his AWP fell. Gets a little bit of damage off onto Crucial. Wants to be careful. We've already seen the P250 connecting one clean headshot, but Zedko starting to mop things up. They've got utility as well. Really no need to take any more risks. Shock finds a headshot. Zedko will mop. It's just the one frag for Endpoint. Given the firepower, honestly, I think they take it. But with the AWP saved across, the economy will continue to build for the CT side. And it starts to get towards last chance saloon for the T's. 13-8 down Endpoint. Tantalizingly close to the comeback in those early moments. Pistol looking mighty impressive, but Sinners have started to stabilize things once again. Oscar, Neofrag, even Zedko having some really significant impact. Shock locking out that mid control, and Endpoint looking for any kind of pressure release. Are going to head over towards B. Plenty of presence here. 4 players, in fact, looking to probe. They found some picks with the P250. Maybe the rifles can do a little bit more.
You can see multiple Galils that had to come out as well in order to get the nades now for this execute, so hopefully they can make it work. Zedko playing ahead of the flames and ahead of the smokes will actually only be good for one, so a pretty solid trade being found by Surreal, and Shock wants to force the issue. Flashes in, they were pretty much non-stop right there. Only comes away with one as well though, so again, Endpoint trading pretty successfully on towards the bomb site, but they seem to be afraid. I think they were curious if there was another player around that smoke on the bomb site, and well, Surreal has gone ahead and just pushed through. Takes those two players in the spawn. They had realized obviously Neofrag was on the flank, so they wanted to just isolate the fights on one side so that they didn't get sandwiched in, and it works out perfectly. Neofrag had even begun to back away, and I think at this point it's probably about saving the M4. You see Shock is a bit low on money. Oscar doesn't have a great economy either, so he could probably drop over an op even in this next round to Oscar. Shock is probably just going to be left with a weaker weapon then, sadly. Although, no, Oscar should be able to give one over to him, especially if he's willing to go glass cannon. So we'll see what way they work it out. But no, he's actually moving in. It is only a 1-on-2.
Not sure about this.
I thought with how slow he was going that he wasn't going to. I mean, he's getting here when the bomb's already over halfway ticked. If he can get that op out for it, that'd be brilliant. Take the one kill, get the op and run, but no. Even had the chance for the drop on Crucial. Doesn't manage to get the kill. It's Crucial instead who has the op now to work with, and Endpoint, they get the round that they very much needed to try and make this comeback a possibility. And we've seen them get going late in that first half, so we know that they can do it, but they just don't have any room for mistakes to be made, really.
I think Neofrag was initially looking after getting that pick on the backstab, was looking to group up with his team and going together through generators, but as Surreal takes out both of them, they just lose all the control. And I'm not too sure. I think Crucial heard him pick up a nade as he swung, and that gave him the audio cue to turn around and dome him before Sinners could find the frag. Timeout as we wait and try and work out. I mean, I'm looking down the money on the CTE side of things for Sinners, and without that saved rifle, I don't think this is a buy. I mean, Zedko will pick up a little bit. I think they go down to maybe around that 2k mark. Neo stays a little higher to pick up the AWP and drop that to Oscar in the next, but it's going to be double digits for Endpoint either way. At the very least, a nice warm-up to head into Overpass with. Deagles, MP9s, and even a default pistol, all that Sinners can muster into this one, and trying to be aggressive off the back of it. Zedko already taking a lot of damage as Thomas opens up onto Neofrag.
Yeah, I'm behind this half buy. As you said, they've got a little bit of room to work with. No reason to throw it away on a weaker investment when you can just take one eco, make sure you have a really good buy. And I mean, they've got a bit here. Obviously, it hasn't started off too well with Neofrag going down, but they have a chance to try and take a few weapons out of the hands of Endpoint at least, and at that point, make it again a possibility that winning one gun round could just completely break them. We'll see what can be done though. Setco with the MP9 already tagged up a little bit. There's a flash in the hands of Oscar that could maybe be thrown in here for this peak to come true, and I think that's the plan. It is indeed. Doesn't manage to catch most of the players, I don't believe, but he still manages to kill on Thomas. It will be traded back by Crucial, but they will be walking now into a bit of an A-stack, so we'll see what the pistols can do about it. Shock actually playing up close in the smoke. He's only got a USP. If he had a Deagle or even a P250 right now, I would say he'd probably have the chance to get the drop on one, but he still does it. Crucial goes down. Tries to spin back around and see what else was available, but unfortunately it was all of the players pretty much locked in on him then with the AKs. So the trade was available, and in the end it was cleaned up, but as you said, yeah, didn't quite manage to reach the upper sandbags. So that round is, in the end, very, very expensive for Endpoint, and that is a success for Sinners. As I said, now they have a chance to just break them with this one gun round and pretty much head towards the finish line with that.
To get this one over the line, Endpoint utterly broken, as you said. Buy won't really be there. I have to say the Eco concede the 15 and look to play back for the OT. Still not the greatest of buys in the world for the CT side, though. Oscar finds himself languishing with the Deagle. 4 rifles in support and something a little bit different. This boost, it's a risky one. It is pretty damn spammable, and we do see teams deploying Molotovs here pretty frequently to clear out the catwalk as well. Neofrag's going to hang around a little while, see if anybody does expose their head, give up maybe a little bit of room to work with. Flashes and utility being deployed. Of course, Neofrag can call that this hasn't been taken yet. He's got all the info in the world on that boosted spot, and well, he might have his chance here. Mighty Max starting to think about the swing. They are tantalizingly close on the X-ray, as we can see. 3 players inches away from taking this contact, and Neofrag, he'll have his chance now. The double spray down lines up. 2 quick headshots to convert, and a 3-on-5 early. Perfect start for Sinners, as Endpoint just stuck in the ramp at this point. They've got to try and find an execute, but they're completely hemmed in. They have no idea what's going on. Catwalk, Oscar will be isolated at least, but they need a lot more where that came from, and already Neofrag swings in for 2 more. It's all Mezzy. He's got 3, looking for the ace on half HP. He's got 2 isolated fights for now. Zedko is starting to make his way in on this flank. A little bit of time to maybe reposition, try and work out these 1v1s. He's only got 30 health. It's going to have to be very damn clean from Mezzy to try and keep Endpoint's hopes alive as that bomb does start to tick. A third gone already. He's set himself up on the angle, hoping for the early headshot, but he's being pincered from Catwalk. They've got both of his angles on lock. He'll tuck in close to the box, hope that maybe he catches the timing, but it's not clean enough. Shock will find him, will find the round. It's 14 for Sinners. And as you said, you start to look, and as this gets diffused, we'll get a better idea. It's going to be a very rough round for Endpoint.
Woo! Damn, Mezzy really gave it the best he could there to try and pull that back. But yeah, as you said, Neofrag, this double spray down perfectly lined up. It was just a great little switch up in such a vital round as well. I like it, throwing a spanner into the works, and well, just Neofrag, even with the 4K in general right there, that was just a round of big plays coming through. Success though for Sinners, and as we had pointed out now, Endpoint, they're in a bit of a troublesome position. The buy is actually slightly better than I expected, I do have to say. But if this one doesn't work, then they won't have too much to fight for the final round then, unless they manage to get the bomb down, or to try and fight for an overtime, that is. So really, it's everything put into this round right now, and they need to make it work. Well, it's doable. Neofrag, rather, is looking to get a little bit aggressive above the smoke. Might not expect all of the players to be here, but he lines them up. Neofrag is just going insane right now. 3 kills for himself before he falls, but it's these lineups that are just working out so well for him. Mighty Max on the Deagle, he's had his moments, as we mentioned, with that weapon, but now he's got an AK, and I think he'd much rather that to try and pull back this 2-on-4, but the flank from Oscar should at least be able to get the drop on one. Takes the Fireman, so we can easily transfer back to Surreal then, and there we go. 15 for Sinners. Not much done by Endpoint. They don't get a bomb plant, and this buy is way worse than what we've seen in that previous round. They have very little to try and fight to keep themselves alive here on Vertigo.
What a time for Neofrag to come alive. A double spray down in the previous, this time 3, including another double spray close to the sandbags. Sinners putting Endpoint on their backside and in such an awkward spot now. Deagles, Tech 9, all they can afford. They're going to head towards B as a unit, hope that maybe someone exposes themselves, gives them an opportunity. Spotted out though, the molly will go in close. Zedko will start to farm things down. 2 in quick succession, 3 make it. The flashes over the top are sensational. Sinners are mopping things up. It's all Mezzy. 1v5, it was never going to happen. Sinners take their map pick. Endpoint left in shock, and they'll need to get back to that form on Overpass after the break.
I see no signals, no signs. Girl, you be tripping, no lies, nah. You said je ne sais pas. I flew in all the way for this. I'm not here to waste your time. I just can't give you vibes, you changed a bit. Girl, you mad teasing. I don't mind leaving, just let me know. She told me take it easy. Hey, yeah. I just came here to make y'all feel good. You know what the message is. Suddenly you with me now. You know what the message is. I be running wild for you, babe. You know what the message is. I don't have no patience. Ain't no conversation. easy. I don't mind leaving, just let me know. Then she told me take it easy. Yeah, yeah. I just came here to make y'all feel good. You know what the message is. Suddenly you with me now. You know what the message is. I be running wild for you, babe. You know what the message is. I don't have no patience. Ain't no conversation. I just wanna talk, but you don't wanna listen. Tryna go far, but you got mixed feelings. So I'm finished. I'm on my way. Then you tell me you need it. Back in my space. Hey, yeah. How could I lie? Just to be cold.
16-10. Sinners do get it done on Vertigo, despite Endpoint showing promising signs of a comeback and potentially now forcing us to that 3-map series. I mean, I was convinced for a little bit of time there that Endpoint were starting to get their act together, right? It did feel like they were starting to warm up into things, starting to find that consistency, but at the perfect moment, Neofrag and Oscar just combining in stellar form to shut it down.
Yeah, as you said, it did look like the comeback was on. I mean, it went from 8-0 up to 10-8 then in favor of Sinners at one point. So that lead that they had was really slipping away, but they managed to switch it up. They managed to try and throw some, as I said, spanners into the work and get that in those important rounds, the ones where they were able to break down Endpoint. Importantly, we're keeping it pretty competitive even on the weaker buys and able to constantly do damage. And, well, yeah, they grind out the victory. But as you said, there was promise from Endpoint. That's a good sign because now we know going on to Overpass, a map that has probably been their most comfortable map so far with this 5-man, that they should be looking a lot better. And Sinners can play the map a little bit, but yeah, they haven't played this level of opposition on the map anytime recently, so I am a little bit worried for them. I feel like we're looking towards that 3-map series now. And I mean, I kind of mentioned that this was the way I could see Sinners having a chance of winning the series. Get the Vertigo win, do a bit on Overpass as well, hopefully don't let it go too one-sidedly, and then get it to Inferno, which is a map that both of these teams are pretty good on, and one at least where I expect Sinners to be more comfortable than Overpass.
Yeah, they've definitely checked that first tick box, taking their map pick of Vertigo. And to be fair, I mean, you know, we were talking about in the pregame, starting to highlight maybe Neofrag and Oscar a little bit slow to the party. And whilst they're not necessarily lighting the scoreboard up, you know, they have got teammates up there with them. It just feels like every critical round, every critical moment has got one of their names behind it, whether it's Oscar entering with the no-scope wallbang through the smoke onto the B site to steal away a 2-on-5, or if it's Neofrag, you know, on the CT side, as we see here, getting some insane spray downs just to completely shut Endpoint out of the equation. It definitely feels like when the individuals are required, when those key players need to show up and step up, they are doing so. And I think heading on to Overpass, Endpoint, you know, they can take this as a bit of a mental reset. It has been very much a stronghold for them since Mezzi rejoined the roster. It's been such a consistent map, you know, Mezzi pass and all that. You'll see it floating around on Twitter, but I think Sinners are still in with a shout here. I mean, if Neofrag and Oscar keep doing what they're doing into the second map, then potentially we could start to sow the seeds of doubt for Endpoint.
It's not impossible. I mean, yeah, if they can get in the start as well, especially into it, I do feel like Overpass is one here where if Endpoint can get going early on, then they should be able to just keep up that form. We were even seeing Mezzi kind of waking up towards the end of Vertigo there, so that's a little bit of a scary sign for them. But I did mention at one point during that matchup that even most recently when Sinners played Overpass, they actually got a victory on it over Apex as well, who have been a pretty solid lineup, as we said, and have had their own success. So it's not impossible. They'd also beat out Young Ninjas. They'd beat out Alternate Attacks during that ESEA Premier relegation, I believe it was, that actually qualified to here. They won 16-6 there. So it's doable. I don't know. I feel like this should be Endpoint's map, but we were proven wrong last week as well when they managed to steal away the map choice of Anonymous. So it's possible. I would imagine there is plenty of Sinners fans right now who are extremely hyped with that first map pick, but I still feel like we should be looking at a 3-map series, but I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah, there is definitely a little bit of a balance to be struck as well. You know, we were talking about previously how Sinners have had a full week, right? They haven't played an official on HLTV this week. They've had plenty of time to practice. they have to have known, we were all going all the way back to the veto at the start of this going, I'm a bit surprised that they vetoed out Dust 2 and let Overpass through. So they absolutely have to have known that they were going to make that decision and that Overpass was going to be the map. And I have to think, at least going off the statistics of the situation, that Sinners have seen something, right? They've seen a way, an opportunity, a doorway, any kind of way they can break that Overpass, either on the offensive or the defenses from Endpoint, because, as much as they don't play Dust 2, they've only played it 3 times, they've only won it once in the last 3 months, they're still coming up against an Endpoint who've only got like a 50% win rate on Dust 2. We always say D2 feels like a bit of a coin flip map as well. If the individuals show up like they did on Vertigo, then it does feel like it can go either way. So I have to think, I really do, that Sinners have seen something on this Overpass that they're going to look to abuse.
Yeah, I'm with you that I wouldn't know what it is, but they are a relatively new lineup, so I'm sure there is some mistakes in there that haven't been ironed out yet and that they haven't really been punished on too much that, well, yeah, as you said, Sinners have had a chance to look into. So, yeah, maybe that keeps the hope alive. I still feel like I'm going to say a 3-map series, but I don't think it's impossible. Sinners have already proved us wrong last week. They could definitely do it again here, and I'm certainly hyped to see how Overpass is going to go. I just feel like you need the up of Oscar to going to hit the next level. You need Neofrag to be keeping up the form that he found towards the end of Vertigo right there. And yeah, then there's definitely a chance. Again, it is also Endpoint's choice, so they're going to get to start on that CT side, which is a positive too.
Plenty of positives to be taken, but before we go to Overpass, we are going to have to chuck some advertisements at you, so we'll see you in a few minutes.
If you want to know what you're good at, and, well, also what you suck at, check out csgohub.com. Coming!
Yes! Nice shot, my friend.
Cheaters ruining your plays?
I have eyes on the enemy.
Bad servers stopping your shots? What you need is ESEA. Advanced anti-cheat to stop cheaters. And the best servers around, all with 128 tick rate. ESEA, the best way to play CSGO.
Time always talks about all the other guys. Will I ever understand? Without her, it's not fair. I need you back. No more crying at the end. I'll do it again.
Welcome back. Overpass is on the docket next to see if we do need that final map of Inferno to separate these two teams. Well, we've been building it up. We've been making a meal of it. I mean, I've been trying to find a silver lining for Sinners, but this is such an incredibly strong map for Endpoint, dude.
I think we found a few. The fact that they've had the time for some preparation and that it is a map that they themselves are certainly able to play, so it's doable, but I mostly am looking towards them at least making it competitive. I think Inferno is going to be where the series is decided, in my opinion. I was saying that even in the beginning, so I've got to kind of stick with that, but it's always possible. I mean, you can. That's what's good about CS. There is always the chance of those upsets coming in. You can never be 100% certain. You've just got to have a look at what's happened so far and make a decision based off that, but that's not really what matters. It's about who shows up in the moment.
Yeah, and well, speaking of who shows up, we did have Mezzy towards the back end of things there, really starting, pull out a few clutches, a few nice plays with the Deagles, the AK spring to mind. It definitely felt like as the game went on, he was starting to get warmed up into it a little bit more. He was starting to find his form, and he has been such a critical player for Endpoint on Overpass. Since he's joined, he's been pretty much unanimously at the top of the scoreboard. He's been the one who's anchoring things down, finding the big clutches, finding the big moments. So it could be the perfect coming of age story for him moving forwards if he can maybe, start to usurp the likes of Neofrag and Oscar in this map, take that momentum into Inferno, and then we can see Endpoint really starting to hit their stride, because they will, in all honesty, be looking to put this game to bed, right? We've spoken about the disparity. This is a Pro League relegated team trying to go back up versus an ex-advanced team who promoted, trying to maybe make playoffs, trying to see if they can scrap around there. But for my money, it should be Endpoints to take, so they'll definitely be looking to build the momentum here.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I think realistically, Sinners are probably not aiming for the win. You're always thinking, okay, the goal is to win. But realistically, I think they'd be satisfied if they were able to make playoffs. If they can be the Anonymous of the season who just come out of nowhere and manage to have a very impressive group stage, then I think they'll be happy with that. And it'll give them a little bit of time, I guess, to adjust to the level of teams that they're going to be playing here. But we're getting into it. Finally, Wolfie. I'm excited to get the game going. I can slouch back down now, get closer to the mic. Love it. My bad back form.
Go full shrimp in the chair. As you said, though, Sinners, we'll get to start CT side. Go fishing out towards Fountain, see if they can spot anything out. A couple of players seen, but it is the connector pinch coming in. And interestingly, Sinners have taken short control, so should have plenty of information about where this one's going to end up. Rotations, you have to imagine, will start coming through. Zedko, got to be mighty careful with that door wide open. Several crosshairs looking his way. We'll just get out of dodge initially. Endpoint are still prodding and poking around that top con. Oscar has stayed on long bathrooms as well. Should start to get tested, though. Thomas the first to peek wide. Oscar not finding the shot and will be found out as a result. Man advantage that Endpoint were looking for has now been found as they start to queue up on short and look to hit A.
Yeah, and they do have those nades, of course, in play to try and help alongside that task, rather. Smokes go down, flash as well. Neofrag tucked in behind the bomb site. Actually didn't take contact straight away. Let Shock instead fight from the truck. And with that, they were just overrun. The Glocks were given the time to close in the distance, to get right up in the faces of their opponents, and to overrun that A bomb site and make it another very quick pistol round. We're seeing pretty decisive pistols so far in this series. And it's a good sign to me that Crucial is the one who shows up here for Endpoint with a triple. He needs to have a little bit more form. He needs to show a bit more up against Oscar. We didn't really see a lot, I don't think, from Crucial on that previous map.
Yeah, certainly in the pre-Flames and the pre-Mezzy days of Endpoint, it was Crucial and Surreal who you really look to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So good to see him chiming in early, but I do think it's a mistake from Oscar. He's so isolated in those long bathrooms. He's hung around for a long time. He's spotted out, got the information. At that point, I honestly don't mind if CTs fall all the way back to site. Look to just play 2A, 3B, lock out those sites, get a couple of picks on the entry and make the retake viable. Instead, he tries to be proactive with it, gets a little bit caught off guard. Thomas finds the drive-by. And from there, the A bomb site is so damn vulnerable. And Endpoint all too willing to take that opening round off Sinner's hands. Now, though, they will be tested once again. Immediately, that force buy comes in from the CT side. Scout in the hands of Oscar. If he can find some tags, he struggled, admittedly, on Vertigo with the Scout to really get too much damage out of it. But if he can tag up a couple of players here, maybe this round becomes viable. Thomas will sneak his way out, though, and that Molotov's going to put Shock under so much pressure. It's the straight B hit, already all the way out Monster, with Shock on just 18 HP behind these barrels. 3 players here for the CT side. Missed shot from B-Stick, though, and that could well be punished. Flashbang is perfect, but he can't find the kill. Tags up 2, sure, but he needed a little bit more than that. The man advantage goes the way of Endpoint, and now they can start their execute.
Apparently, he's only a Deagle monster when he's the last man standing, because we've seen those D clutches from him last week. Eventually, they burned Shock out of position. It took 2 Molotovs to do so. And, well, a lot of damage has been done, so this could still get dangerous. You've got Oscar in the background with a scout. You've got Deagles up close in the pit. And, well, already the finish on Thomas comes in. That was one of the healthy players. Endpoint, they're starting to hesitate. They realize that this push could very quickly fall apart. And with that, are actually going to decide to just cancel it. They're going to start falling back off. The plan now, I believe, being to just hopefully reach that A bomb site before the rotations come in from Sinners. But is that going to be the case? That's what I'm wondering right now. Oscar's already making his way up towards Bank. Push in through long from Mighty Max, but he's only got a UMP, so if the scout peeks this, Oscar should have a pretty easy time with getting the kill, but he might be caught off guard. Not expecting anyone on long yet, but he still hits the flick. Mighty Max not even able to land the bullet. They are heading back B now, but no one else had rotated over because Oscar hasn't seen anyone else. They're going to stay in position. These Deagles could still be a massive nuisance.
Surreal one shot. Mezzy swings. He takes the tag. Crucial does well, but Zedko is lopping him off. All too easy. He makes the heads roll. Oscar will convert. And Sinners, all that damage will be rewarded. Zedko even salvaging an AK right at the death of things. Oh man, Endpoint. You cannot be making those kind of mistakes. A little bit of doubt creeping in there. They had the sight. They just had to clear out those Deagles. Instead, they loop back around, hoping to draw the rotations. Doesn't pan out that way, and Zedko will take those all day long. Thank you very much. Conversion is found. And as always in these battles for the Force Buy, it gets worse and worse the longer you are trying to make it happen. Deagles this time for the T side, already being chipped away at by the nades. B-Stick with the early opening, goes down low, but finds the frag regardless. And with the opening man advantage, Sinners can afford to just sit back and hold over towards B.
Yeah, hopefully looking to not let things drop like Endpoint did in the previous round. We see a lot of these back and forths. Will we get it now is the question. Surreal actually ready for the long push. A little bit risky from Oscar. They do already have the man advantage, but I guess with B-Stick being so low, they don't feel as comfortable as they'd want to. So we're hoping to maybe come away with one more frag before they give up this control. And, well, they're doing some good damage right now. Again, though, slightly isolated in terms of these positions. Zedko's being actually caught out now over on B in the meantime. And Oscar in the long bathrooms, again, similar to what we've seen in that pistol round, will be caught after only getting 1 kill. So this is becoming a lot more expensive for Sinners than it should be, and is a round that could very much be taken away by Endpoint right now with that health on B-Stick and with the weaker weapons then left in the hands of Shock and Neofrag.
This angle on long is going to be everything. Thomas making his way out. Ring of Roses in the short control. Shock might be caught off guard by this. The timing is going to be everything. Surely the backstab comes through here. Shock looking for it. Will find the conversion at the last second. Spots the bomb out and finds it as well. Shock the stabilizing force. B-Stick will finish the job, but it really is that MP9 that is make or break for Sinners. If he gets caught off guard, B-site wide open, it's a free plant and a free after at that. Instead, Endpoint will be looking at the hard eco here. An opportunity for Sinners, as you said, after losing a little too much to those Deagles, to start stabilizing things down. Get Oscar farming on that MP5, get Shock farming on the MP9, build up some of that cash against these Glocks and start to build your half. Winning the early battle of the forces, though, it's a great start for Sinners, showing that they are coming to fight on this CT side. They're not just going to roll over and accept that Inferno will need to be the separator. Of course, with just the 2 P250s behind these 3 Glocks, Endpoint not expecting too much out of this round. Opportunity just to maybe start to feel out how the CTs are setting up, although, to be honest, they've got a pretty good idea of how Oscar likes to play already, having found him out in the pistol and on the first buy as well. Neofrag starts to open up, though. And as expected, the M4s will just start to clean up house. Thomas, the next one to peek that angle. MP5 of Oscar trying to build himself up a little bit of cash. He's playing very proactively. Might even want to go for the knife here, but he's going to be caught off guard by the timing. Spots 2, will go for the double execution instead. And this round, of course, is just a mop-up job. Oscar gets his 3rd. Nice and clean from the SMGs. All 5 players kept up. Lovely stuff from the CT side of Sinners.
Yeah, great work by Oscar. He's the man you want to be picking up those SMG frags as well against the easier buys. That makes up quite a bit for the players that they had actually lost in that previous round, with it being a much closer one than they had hoped for. So yeah, we'll see how this goes for Endpoint. They definitely need to come alive a lot earlier than they did back on Vertigo, and it's a map where we expect them to find that success a bit earlier as well. So we'll see if it's possible or not. They are going to find some aggression even coming through on mid, but it's only Neofrag. Gets flashed in, no one ready to support him, so no one ready for any sort of trade then, as he gets taken straight out by Surreal. And although Oscar has stuck around in the bathrooms, the question is, are they going to give him any chances? They've got a smoke that they've put down. They're going to methodically move in now and take this control around mid. And yeah, Oscar doesn't want to stick around too aggressively. He will fall back to the back of the bathrooms instead. So long control will be taken. Endpoint still have loads of time. They've got presence in connector. They've got a man outside monster so that they can take control around B water if they want to. And you can see Sinners are realizing that they're not in a great position right now, so they've decided to re-aggress around the bathrooms. And I like this setup. We'll see whether it'll work or not. That's actually a bomb right now that might step into Oscar's crosshair, so I am a little bit worried for Crucial. But he seems to be avoiding it for now.
And throwing the M4 at it, Sinner's aware that somebody needs to step up. Oscar will be given his chance, hits the first. Bait and switch set up for Zedco, and it works out perfectly. 2 quick frags, that's bombed down as well, as you said, on Crucial's back. The man advantage swings back their way. Long flank potentially viable for Surreal. He's going to try and catch a timing around the edges of this lurk smoke. Beastick seems aware, though, and will trade him down. Mighty Max and Thomas now just looking to play the timings. Through the smoke they go. He'll find the AWP, but his teammate's gone. It's all Thomas now on the AK. Finds a second. He keeps aggressing, but it's right into the MP9. Shock will find the trade. Should be able to grab the AWP as well. Does get it back to Beastick. He grabs himself an AK-47 instead, and I mean, I'm not going to say worrying signs yet for Endpoint, but this setup is overpass 101 and it works out to absolute perfection. Isolates the bomb as well. Feels like that's a huge oversight to be losing that so early on in the round.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to catch them off guard so much. I definitely didn't think Crucial was going to be the one to willingly peek in with the bomb. It was just out of their hands almost at that point once the bomb went down, with the smoke and all in place to keep them away from it as well. Great work, though. I mean, Sinners are finding form. I'm loving what we're getting from them this week. And we said we were kind of worried because they're just not as active as Endpoint are. But they've been together for a pretty long period of time, and they've clearly put in the work for this matchup. They know what to expect from Endpoint here on Overpass. But sometimes that's not enough. Crucial opens the door, rips off the head of Beastick. You can't really do much about that. He was like, oh, thank you. M4 as well. He'll take it, close the door, seal it back up, and, well, just back away, likely with the rifle. And you do see Sinners haven't pushed back in, so it was probably the right idea. And he even confirms that with the jump peek to get the info. So really good work. We'll see whether any kills can now be pulled back by Sinners, or whether Endpoint can actually do anything with this advantage. And, well, Crucial is going to keep fighting. There's no way he expects Zedco up close as well, and he doesn't even get a chance. Never mind, Oscar joins in for the fight.
That timing was nasty, but they have got an isolated man on A here. Potentially Neofrag in a little bit of trouble. He will be traded 1-for-1. Keeping it competitive in the 3-on-3. Bomb should be able to go down, but this flank is going to deny. Zedco with the molly as well to follow up. Spots Surreal on that site. Forces the truck plant. Thomas's aggression is expected. Oscar needs to hit the shot cleanly and does so. Now it is all on Surreal. On that recovered M4. Can't find the sprays after. He will be traded down. Decently expensive, I will say. Endpoint, a couple of frags, right? A bomb plant going down as well. Gives them a little more cash to invest into the next round. But Sinners are getting through these CT buys. They are making them work with some consistency. Nice opening pick from Crucial at the very least, but this from Oscar really was the stabilizing force right as that smoke pops. Just goes for the timing shot through it. Gets himself the critical frag. And at 5-1 up, I mean, I think Sinners, based on how strong Endpoint have looked on this map historically, will take this.
I mean, yeah, it's on paper, Endpoint should be taking it, but Sinners are giving us a pretty good start. Although this round, not quite. Thomas is actually going to find the early kill. Was that on the jump peeker? I believe so, yeah, it must have been. I'm not seeing a body having pushed up around short, so fantastic. No, sorry, it was actually over in Connector, was it? Yeah. I'm not quite sure how he managed to be the one to find it, but either way, we will see, of course, the control of Connector also being taken for Endpoint. And another frag coming in now from Surreal this time. Catching Oscar as he tries to, I guess, aggress around A this time to try and pull back the early disadvantage. And they catch Beastick just caught out around the bench. That was a very interesting position to be playing from. Trying to switch it up and maybe catch them off guard, but it doesn't work out. Zedco, he has rotated into A. But again, it's just one man alone to try and take a fight on his own. And what can he really do? Not much he realizes. He backs out towards bank. I mean, a save probably at this point. They have pretty good money though, so maybe the plan was to try and get a couple of kills at least from this one, and he didn't want to commit heavily to the bomb site because he knew then at best he'd maybe get one kill and die. Because he was clearly looking there to try and pick one or two players off on the cross. But as the bomb goes down, you don't really want to risk your weapon anymore.
Money's not all that great on the CT side of things either. B-Stick will be able to buy. Neofrag a little bit slim around the edges, so by keeping two rifles, they do just backbone it. Give it a little bit more structure, rigidity to work around. Endpoint welcoming themselves to a server with a very clean rifle round as well. We have to say, you know, 3 fights just taken and won immediately. Thomas gets the early pick, and you could understand from Sinner's perspective trying to stick around, trying to play the timings, but I think, I mean, I didn't see it, but I suspect that Oscar, as his teammate whiffs onto Mezzi, has been caught in two minds about whether to fall off or hang around, and has just been domed on the swing as he tries to get out of dodge. Perfect position to find yourselves in, and as they scramble this next buy together, Sinner's on the verge of being broken, so the pressure definitely on, and time for that CT side to deliver. We'll have to wait and see if they can achieve that. Oscar, at the very least, does get his AWP again. Just the one defuse kit. Sorry, second as I see it on Shock as well. It's not the perfect buy. It's not everything they would have wanted, but there's some bits and pieces here to maybe try and string this round together, and they're going to get aggressive, actually. Pot flash again into short for Zedko. Just clearing out that initial control, making sure the T's aren't too far up already as Endpoint settle into their default.
Yeah, and it is just that. Nothing crazy coming in early on from Endpoint. They know this is a very important round, and they realize, I guess, with all the damage that they had been consistently doing, that while this buy shouldn't really be lacking in terms of weapons and all, there might be a few less nades than in some of those previous rounds at least. And that is the case after the early pressure is put on anyway. A lot of that utility being thrown out by Sinners in order to get their control and to counter Endpoint's kind of presence around middle as well. But there's still no kills to come through, only a small bit of damage. Crucial's going to be caught. No idea that they can push through. Zedko, you can't be letting that one go. The spray is whiffed. Crucial capitalizes on it big time, and now Shock is caught around short. He will actually find that kill onto Mezzi, but now he has players coming out monster that he needs to worry about as well, and Mighty Max is there for the trade. Neofrag somehow doesn't realize Thomas had crept into the back already. And well, now with a 4-on-2 again, I think the save has to be called for. This time, though, will it be enough to allow the full buy? Probably just about. Shock and Zedko can definitely buy for themselves anyway, and with the up already on Oscar and all, I think Neofrag will probably just pull out whatever he can, and, well, he should get the weapon. I think it's the utility more that's questionable.
You cannot miss that, mate.
Yeah,
Zedko with the drop on the AWP, man. I want to see that from Crucial's perspective. The flick must have been nasty. It looked like he just went a split second too soon to me. Like he saw the barrel and was worried that Crucial was going to swing on him, so fired a little too early, put himself in an awkward spot, and from there just couldn't quite recover it. Little bit of a gift for Endpoint on their third. Should have been going in 4-on-5. Instead found themselves 5-on-4. And as you said, it looked a little bit awkward. To be fair, though, with the save rifles, Shock on 7400 could have been dropping as well. And yeah, he's gone too soon. He's expecting Crucial to swing. It doesn't happen, so he gets caught in two mines. Shock does very well even to find one from the short sandbags, but it's not quite enough. Neofrag actually going to pick up a secondary AWP now. The big green panic button being hit. Hot flash to keep him off the initial peaks as well. Oscar going to get proactive over towards B in the meanwhile, taking the position in which Zedko missed previously. Good control established from the CT side, but they've got to be conscious that off the back of it, we're seeing Endpoint very quick up long.
Yeah, my question is it actually the quicker commitment, though? Definitely could be. They've still got one player at least holding for some monster aggression to come true, and I mean, that's reasonable to expect considering how much short control is being taken time and time again. Sinner's definitely liking this aggression, and they have gone for it now. But not to commit around through the spawn. Instead, up through Connect or Oscar. Not spotting anyone here. It's the bathrooms he's got to worry about, though. Does he realize long control has been taken? I think a bit of noise has been made, especially as that smoke goes down, so it's a position he'll need to be careful of. They've already bypassed them up through short now. At least one player has.
Oh, time